When Trump visited China recently, there was only one historical site he was taken to. Not the Forbidden City, not the Great Wall, but here, the Temple of Heaven. And honestly, that choice reveals something much deeper about how traditional Chinese culture understood the world. In our Before You Go to China series, this is not just a travel guide, not simply a list of attractions, but a way of slowly entering different places in China, so that when you finally get there, you don't just see the place, you feel it. Because travel begins long before the journey itself. Most visitors coming here first notice the deep blue roofs, the perfect symmetry, a place once used for imperial rituals. At first, the place simply feels calm, balanced, almost empty. But the longer you stay here, the more you realize this place is creating something quieter and much deeper. A sense of order, a sense of space. That's because this architecture was designed to connect humans, nature, and the universe. As you walk through the Temple of Heaven, you begin to notice that almost nothing here feels accidental. The circular altars, the square foundations, the open sky above you. Traditional Chinese cosmology imagined heaven as round and earth as square. And suddenly, the architectures start to feel like a physical model of the universe itself. Standing on a circular mold altar feels very different. You feel exposed to the sky, the openness is intentional, even the emptiness begins to make sense. And even the long central pathway connecting the altars feels carefully designed. As you walk along it, the architecture slowly lifts you upward. Not through spectacle, but through movement, rhythm, and space. Chinese cosmology was often expressed through spatial order, and you can feel that here. The most famous building is the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests. At first glance, you may simply see a beautiful blue circular building. But the deeper you look, the more symbolic layers begin to appear. Unlike many European cathedrals or palaces, the Temple of Heaven doesn't overwhelm the visitors with giant statues, dramatic paintings, or stories carved into walls. Its language is different. It relies on space, openness, symmetry, and sky. The hall was built entirely without nails. Its wooden structure relies on traditional interlocking joints, known in Chinese as 榫卯, allowing the entire building to hold together through balance and precision. Inside, its wooden columns quietly organize time itself. 4 central pillars represent the 4 seasons. 12 inner columns symbolize the 12 months. Together with the outer 12 columns, they reflect the 24 solar terms that traditionally guided agricultural life in China. Here, the structure connects architecture, rituals, and cosmic order into one unified space. And the emperor here was not worshipped as a god. At least not in the same way many Western monarchies imagined divine kingship. Instead, The emperor was expected to act as a mediator between natural world, agricultural circles, and human society. And maybe that's why the Temple of Heaven still feels relevant today. Traces of this older worldview still remain. The importance of harmony, the sensitivity to timing and seasonal rhythms, and the idea that humans should not separate themselves from the natural world. So, you can still see Chinese people today organizing their daily life around seasonal rhythms. In seasonal foods connected to different time of the year, in the idea that certain foods are better for the body in different seasons. Warming foods in winter, cooling foods in summer. In the rhythms of public parks in the early morning and late evening, or simply in the idea that human life should remain connected in some way to larger nature rhythms. What's interesting is that so many international media outlets focused on the Temple of Heaven after Trump's visit, because they also found that this place tells about how traditional China understood power, order, and the relationship between humans and the world around them. Chinese culture often expresses ideas indirectly, not always through words, but through things and atmosphere. The Temple of Heaven itself is a perfect example of that human authority, no matter how powerful, should still exist alongside nature, cosmic order, and society, rather than completely above them. And maybe that's a real feeling this place leaves behind. If you'd like to explore more of that side of China, you can find more stories and journeys with us at Feeling China. See you next time.